Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast. Do you dread hearing the question, what's for dinner? Whether you spend your days keeping up with toddlers, running kids to after-school activities, or juggling a career and family, getting dinner on the table can be a struggle for us all. I'm Mariefiebach, a business owner, wife, and mom of 4. I'm on a mission to build stronger families one dinner at a time, and I'm here with tips, tricks, and inspiration you need to feed your family tonight. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast, episode 132. I'm your host, Mariefiebach, and I am excited to be here with you today. Today, we're going to talk about eating out. Every person needs that friend in their life that will shoot straight from the hip, will tell you exactly what you need to be told, even if they are afraid that you don't want to hear it. That friend in my life is often Jenny. Jenny and I grew up next door to each other and have been friends since we were 5 years old. We both have twin girls. We live in the same neighborhood that we grew up in. Jenny will tell me like it is. And she said, Marie, people think that you are not human because you never have on your weekly meal plan, eat out. And she goes, most normal people eat out once or twice a week. It's kind of a common thing. And I said, I think I better talk on my podcast about eating out. She's right. You rarely see dinner out on my meal plan. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why that is. As we get towards the end of this podcast, you're going to really get what my opinion is on eating out. And you might be surprised. So stick around to hear what I have to say about eating out. If you have heard me speak in person, you will know that I have one sister. She's 6.5 years younger than I am. And she and I can count on one hand the number of times our family ate out dinner on a weeknight. Now, that's not to say that we never ate out. My parents, we would often go out to breakfast on Sundays after church. And occasionally, like every other month or maybe once a month or so, we would go to Pizza Hut. And this was in the 1980s where you would actually go and eat at the Pizza Hut. And you'd get a pizza and the parents would get a pitcher of beer and the kids would get a pitcher of pop and everybody would get a salad bar. And it was not like fine dining, but it was definitely like going out and going to a restaurant and eating inside a restaurant. And we did that frequently enough. But my family never ate out on like a Tuesday night. And part of that was my dad worked in retail and we kind of had a wonky schedule. But my sister and I can name the 3 times in our childhood that we ate out on a weeknight. The first time, I was in 4th grade. And my mother said, I'm going to take you out to dinner. And I was like, okay. She goes, why don't you pick out a restaurant? So I picked out a restaurant and I got kind of dressed up because it wasn't something that we did very frequently. So it was kind of a big deal. And my mom took me to the restaurant. Again, my sister was like 3 years old at the time, so she stayed home with dad. My mom took me to the restaurant. And when we walked into the restaurant, my mom said to the hostess, hey, can we have that table way at the back? Now, my 4th grade self did not think, red flag, something not good is coming, right? When your mom asked for the table at the back. Do you know why my mom took me to dinner? It was to have the talk. Oh yeah, you know that one. The one about the birds chirping and the bees buzzing. Yeah, that is why my mother took me out to dinner. Luckily, that restaurant closed after my 4th grade dinner of horror with my mother. My sister, time number 2, was not quite so lucky. My sister picked this restaurant called Cinnamon's Deli. It's kind of a Wichita legend. They have these sandwiches that are made on bread that is thicker than Texas toast, and it is slathered in butter and grilled to perfection. And these sandwiches are served alongside soup in a bread bowl. It is a carb lover's paradise, and this restaurant still exists in Wichita to this day. And when my sister goes into a Cinnamon's Deli, her heart kind of starts beating a little bit faster and her armpits kind of start sweating a little bit more because she remembers what it is like to be in fourth grade learning about the facts of life from your mother in a restaurant. The third time the Sheldon family ate out on a weeknight, I wasn't even there. Again, Sarah's 6.5 years younger than I am. And I was in college. I left for college when she was in grade school. And one day, as she tells the story, my father walked in the door from work and my mom says, "We're going out to dinner tonight just because." Sheldons never go out to dinner on a weeknight just because. It was just because my sister had gotten her first period. I do not know what it is about human sexuality and my mother not wanting to cook, but there was something there. And those were the only times that we remember eating out on a weeknight as a child. And I tell you this because A, it's a really funny story about how I grew up, but also because it shows that I grew up not eating out. And so I was not used to that. It wasn't something that was normal for me. We always ate dinner at home. My mother had an infinite stash of what she called, quote unquote, instant meals, which were basically like hamburger that was pre-cooked that she could quick make into tacos, or it might be some taco meat or something. There was an infamous instant meal called turkey treat that was absolutely disgusting. And my sister and I are still traumatized from eating turkey treat. But life happened to my mother and we still didn't eat out. We didn't run through the drive-thru. And this was the 80s before there were rotisserie chickens in your local grocery store. You couldn't just go to the store and buy a rotisserie chicken. Really, you couldn't even just go to the store and buy boneless, skinless chicken breast to quickly grill. So I grew up that eating out was something that you did on occasion, but it wasn't something that you did on a weeknight. And so that was how I was raised. My mother had her backup meals, and when the wheels fell off, and there were days in our home where the wheels fell off, but when the wheels fell off, she just pulled something out of her freezer and she fed us. Dinner was on the table, and that was that. What she called instant meals is what I call backup meals. And I really believe that every family should have 2 or 3 backup meals where you can get dinner on the table in 20 minutes or less with ingredients that you have in the house all the time. Having a backup meal helps you avoid the drive-thru when the wheels fall off. But here's the thing. Every mom needs a break from cooking. I think every mom should have a break from cooking at least once a week. If you look at my weekly meal plans, if you follow me on Instagram, go to Feed Your Family Tonight on Instagram and follow. I post my meal plans every Monday, and you will see that I eat family dinner once a week. Family dinner is dinner at my parents' house. My mother cooks for my family and my sister's family, and we all get together and we eat together once a week. I do not have to cook. Sometimes I do the dishes, although lately my mom's been breaking out the paper plates, which means the dishes are even easier, and the kids are getting big enough that now the kids are helping with the dishes rather than me having to do the dishes. Back in the day when my kids were little, my sister and I would do the dishes, and my mom would give all of the kids baths and put them in their pajamas so that we could just go home and put them to bed. And doing the dishes was a dream compared to having to get our kids ready for bed. But I had a break from cooking every week that I could count on all the time. Now, I know that my situation with a weekly family dinner is not very common. I am fully aware that I am completely spoiled. It is something that I hope I can do for my grandchildren, but there's no guarantees. I don't know where my kids are going to end up, if we're going to be in the same town or not. But the fact that I have that means that I get a break from cooking every week. Now, there are many ways that moms can get a break from cooking. You can do what I do, eat dinner at your parents' house. Another thing that we do to kind of give me a break from cooking is we'll get takeout pizza, or we'll get fried chicken or Chinese from the grocery store deli. When you are doing takeout with a family of 6, it can get really expensive really fast, especially when one of those 6 people is a teenage boy who basically eats like 3 people. And we have found that in our family, I get enough of a break from cooking just going to the grocery store and getting fried chicken. As a matter of fact, that is what we are having for dinner tonight. We're getting fried chicken from the grocery store. we have found that that works just as well as the drive-through for our family. So that's one way that you can get a break from cooking. Another way you can get a break from cooking is to get that rotisserie chicken and bring it home from the deli. You're not having to cook. Use some paper plates to keep your dishes to a minimum. It's an inexpensive way to give yourself a break from cooking. But eating dinner out is a totally legit way of giving yourself a break from cooking too. I don't think eating out is bad. Just because my family doesn't do it very often does not mean that I think that everybody needs to be just like me and rarely eat dinners out, because that is not reality. And eating dinner out can be a really good thing. But what I want you to do is I want you to plan for that dinner out rather than having the drive-through happen to you. So let me give you an example. This Saturday is going to be a gorgeous day outside. And if you are the type of person when a nice spring Saturday comes and you know that you're going to be outside working in your yard all day long, it's going to be 3 trips back and forth to the Home Depot to get flowers and mulch and bushes, and you're working in your yard, and you had planned to have chicken stir fry for dinner, and you've thawed your chicken and you've bought all the vegetables, and all day while you're working, you're thinking, I don't want to make stir fry for dinner tonight. I'm outside. We're all icky because we've been working in the yard, and the thought of having to go inside and cook dinner sounds awful. But then you start feeling guilty because you've already thawed that meat and you don't want it to go to waste, and you'd kind of plan to do it. Instead of having that mental back and forth all day long thinking, I really want to just eat out, but I said on my meal plan I was going to have chicken stir fry. What if you just put on your meal plan Chipotle or Chick-fil-A or dinner out? And you know that at the end of the day, when you are tired and you've worked hard outside in the yard all day, you're not going to have the energy to fix dinner. And you know at the end of the day, you're going to go and you're going to get takeout. What kind of mindset are you going to have all day long when you're working, knowing that at the end of the day, you don't have to cook dinner? It kind of feels good, doesn't it? And it makes it easier to work harder outside because you know at the end of the day, you're not going to have to cook, rather than having that mental battle with yourself back and forth. I really should do something. That word should can beat us down, because should is where our mind is having a mental conflict. Our mind is thinking, my ideals say that I want to do this. But in reality, you didn't want to do it in the first place. You really wanted to just order out dinner. I am giving you permission today to write dinner out on your meal plans and know that it is a good thing. If you choose to write dinner out from the very beginning, your day is going to go better and it's going to go smoother, rather than letting that drive-through happen to you at the end of the day and then you feel like a failure and you feel guilty for going to the drive-through. Let's strip away the guilt from parenting. Let's strip away the guilt from weeknight dinners. And it's okay to plan a break. Put it on your meal plan. And those days when the wheels fall off, maybe you do pull out the backup meal and maybe you do run through the drive-through. It really doesn't matter that much. But pulling out that backup meal on days when the wheels fall off doesn't have the guilt attached to it as the days where you know that you really want to have that dinner out anyway. So let's put them on our meal plans and let's plan for it so that we have that mental space all day long and we're not having that back and forth in our head thinking that we should. Because should is a word that is going to bring you down rather than lift you up. And I am here to help lift you up, make meal planning a little easier, make family dinners a little bit better in your home. So I can't wait. I want you to post in the Feed Your Family Tonight Facebook group when you have a meal plan that has dinner out on it. Post it in the Feed Your Family Tonight Facebook group, and we are going to cheer you on for making the choice and freeing yourself of that word should. Friends, join me in the Facebook group. If you want to share this podcast, please share it with a friend. Let them know that you are getting encouragement from the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast, and they might as well. We'll catch you next week. Take care.